Mr. Casino can not just get it, he deserves it. I will serve it to him on a platter. Bro, you know, catered to you by Destiny's Child, Vincenzo, that's what you deserve. Hello, and welcome to the I Midnight Experience. If this is your first time here, welcome. Sorry, I can't make myself seriously. If this is your first time here, welcome. I am delighted, I am grateful, I am so happy that you are here, and I hope that you stay a while. I'm gonna take these off now because I have a feeling that there's like a glare from the ring light. I just wanted you guys to see the whole fit together. Now that you've seen it, we can really get into the nitty gritty of what this video is. I don't know what the accent was, I'm sorry. Today, we are gonna be talking about one of my favorite things to talk about, and that is K-dramas. I have watched a total of about 45 K-dramas in the last year, and the only reason I know that is because I have a list. So when I started watching K-dramas, I was like, oh my god, there's so many. I need to find a way to know the ones that I want to watch, put them together, and watch them. So I created a list on my phone. It must be like over 100 K-dramas on this list. And then as I tick them off, it shows me how many I've watched. Anyway, I started watching K-dramas about a year ago now. Yeah, July of 2020. So I have watched 45, give or take, in that amount of time. And I have a few favorites. In fact, it was kind of hard to narrow it down, but these ones are like, oh wow. Yeah, I just want to talk to you guys about them and hopefully get you, one, if you're already a K-drama stan, you might already know the ones I'm talking about. Two, if you're a K-drama stan but you don't know the ones I'm talking about, to get you to watch them. Three, if you're not and you just like watching my content, you like watching my channel, so you know, maybe jab with, I'm trying to convert everyone, I'm joking, I'm not. There's a way K-dramas are filmed and stuff, and I just love it. You've seen my other videos, the things I've learned from them, how they've changed my life. So now let's just talk about the filming, the character, the plot, all of that juicy stuff. That's what we're gonna get into. And I'll probably just take like the summary of what they are about from the internet. In case this is a long one, grab some tea, grab some water, whatever it is, and let's talk, let's chill, let's hang. Let's get into it. Yeah, get into it! The first K-drama on this list of favorites, it's no particular order, but Itaewon Class was probably my first favorite K-drama. In a colourful Seoul neighbourhood, i.e. Itaewon, an ex-con and his friends fight a mighty foe to make the ambitious dreams for their street bar a reality. I had only watched two at the time. Itaewon Class was the second K-drama I watched. I watched the trailer on YouTube and I saw like everyone was a buzz about the fact that, you know, it had a black character in it as well, and I was like, oh my god. I'm new to the world of K-dramas, but here I am, lucky enough to see, to have one of my first K-dramas ever be one that has, you know, a black character in it. You know, I'm gonna watch this. This looks good, and it was not anything I expected at all. Itaewon Class is a K-drama that is very grungy and gritty at the same time as it is like kind of upbeat, and it's so much about loyalty and friendship. And Bok-joo, sir, that man is fine. That man is fine. And I just remember watching Itaewon Class and thinking that haircut was really something, you know. I know it's based on a webtoon, so it's the webtoon character's haircut is so funny. And just the way he would pat his head every time. Itaewon Class solidified my love for K-dramas. In fact, after like the first episode of Itaewon Class, I was just like blown away. I was like, how can this be so good and it's not a movie? I get 16 episodes of this quality, of the storyline, the character development. Oh, it was just so good. And I was just like, okay, yeah, I cannot leave this world. I'm a K-drama for life and now, because wow, it's very much an underdog story. And after he'd lost everything, he was ready to start from the bottom. He was ready to go for as long as he needed to go in order to reach his goal, and he wasn't gonna let anything stop him. And it was just so lovely how along the way he met these people who had created such a bond with him that they were willing to help him achieve his dream. They all had the same goal. And then we also have joo-hyuk. She's this girl who's 10 years younger than the main protagonist, and she decides that she's in love with him. She doesn't decide if she actually falls in love with him, but she decides that she's going to do everything she can to make him the man he wants to be, or even a man fit for her as well. And I found her character both annoying and aspirational. I was like, this woman is a badass. They kept calling her psychopath, which she might have been, but she knew what she wanted. She knew where she was going. She sometimes was extremely rude and extremely unlikable, but I loved that. I was like, yeah, we don't always have to like the main character, you know, even though sometimes it gets to me. Sometimes when I don't like a main character in a series, it makes it hard for me to watch because they cause me pain. You know, when it's like a side character that you don't like, you don't have to see them as much, but when it's the main character, you know, in every episode they're gonna be there and they're going to hurt your soul because they're annoying. So it was like that with her, but not all the time, because I also thought she was a badass, and I would like some of her tenacity, just how straightforward she is. I'm like, give me all of that. I'm eating that up. I think the loyalty, the friendship, the love, what actually was the most beautiful thing for me was the determination, and also Bok-joo was not willing to play dirty. He never really, in my opinion, went low. Anytime his enemies went low, in fact, anytime they even went dangerous, my guy said, nah, I'ma go high. He was almost always the bigger person, and I know that shit is hard, but it paid off. And it doesn't always pay off, but obviously it's gonna pay off because we don't like happy endings. But he had a way he wanted to live, and he lived exactly like that. And there were some powerful words and powerful speeches, the realization of love and how love changes, but also feeling like you have to be loyal to a certain type of, it was everything. Even the fact that there was a trans character in it, even though Rachel, the actor playing the trans character, is not actually trans. I think Itaewon Class really tried to push the boundaries of what a K-drama is to some extent. You could see them trying and dealing with things delicately. And I can only say that now that I've watched more K-dramas. Like, I wouldn't have known whether like it was the norm or not. It was a good time. It was a good show, and I'm glad that it was the second thing I watched. It was like the solid foundation I needed for a lovely relationship with K-dramas moving forward, you know? Next we have my ultimate weightlifting fairy, Kim Bok-joo. A coming-of-age story about a group of college athletes who are fighting for their dreams, experiencing and finding love in the process, and growing every step of the way. I have watched it twice. I'll be watching it a third time or fourth time. I have decided I will be watching it once a year. It's an annual thing. No joke, because I love it. It's so good. And here's why. First of all, it's absolutely fucking hilarious. Some of the antics are completely ridiculous, but it's just so hilarious. And what really stood out for me is the representation of women, and seeing the women in the drama doing a sport that I think is still very much associated with men, weightlifting. And obviously we know girls lift. Girls can lift, they can do shit like that all the time, but seeing it in weightlifting very Kim Bok-joo, especially because I'd watched enough K-dramas now that the female protagonist is very much a damsel in distress, and Kim Bok-joo is anything but a damsel in distress. She is top dog, she's on top of her game. For the most part, she knows who she is. Lee Sung-kyoung as the titular character was just like perfect, because she's quite a tall woman too. So the fact that she's playing a weightlifter, she's taller than the average girl, and she's a bit coarser in terms of her language and the way she behaves, and she's very much unladylike. She isn't this like sweet, gentle little girl. Just seeing her character as this person who kind of like knows herself and who's more like the person in charge was just really lovely. And it was just a representation of Korean women I hadn't seen yet in like the K-dramas I watched up to that point. I absolutely adored it. And also it's the K-drama that introduced me to joo-hyuk, aka my husband and birthday twin. I mean, you can't tell me we're not meant to be. when we had the same birthday. That introduced me to him, and it's funny because right after Weightlifting Fairy Kim Bok-joo, I watched Bride of Her Beck, and he's like two different people. The series are only a year apart, but like in Kim Bok-joo, he's still a boy, and in Bride of Her Beck, he's a man. A very hot man. So yeah, in Weightlifting Fairy Kim Bok-joo, I really like the friendship dynamic between Kim Bok-joo and Jung Joo-hyuk. It's really sweet how that friendship obviously turned into love, and we all knew that's what it was gonna be. I loved it, but also I was like, why is this guy such a child when he's around Bok-joo? You know those annoying boys that won't leave you alone when they like you? They're like throw shit at you or like pull your hair or like make fun of you. He was that. I was like, boy, you're 21, 22. Babe, what are you doing? We're not in primary school. Another thing that was one of my favorite things about the show is the relationship between Kim Bok-joo and her two friends and their two besties. It's just so nice. They've just got each other and they love saying swag, swag,
oh, swag.
It was so funny seeing that. The fact that Kim Bok-joo is raised by a single dad. She's basically raised by her dad and her uncle. I just love seeing that. I think in terms of gender roles and gender representation, it did so well. It's not my first time seeing strong women. It's not my first time seeing men be caretakers, but it was still refreshing to see and to find out so much about like athletics and weightlifting. For example, how they dealt with the fact that the weightlifters, the girls, never invited their boyfriends to come see them because when they're lifting weights, they make these faces and you know, they look ugly and they don't like it. No one wants their boyfriend to see them look like that because you know, they might break up with them or think they're ugly and stuff. And just seeing that, you know, these girls are doing something that they love, this career, and they can't even really share it with the other person that they love because they're like, oh, I don't want you to think less of me or think I'm less of a girl. And it's like, no, baby, you're amazing. You're literally superwoman. Like, how are you lifting that heavy shit like that? The two main protagonists, I have a question. Like, they're such a good looking couple together, like just aesthetically, wow. And like when Lee Sung-kyoung comes on my screen, I'm like, baby, take me. What are you waiting for, man? I'm right here, take me. And then Namji comes on the screen and I'm like, ah! Take me. Like, I would like to be the filling in that sandwich. I really would. I really fucking would. Alright, let's move on before I start saying more things that could get me in trouble. Let me just sip my tea. And next we have It's Okay to Not Be Okay. An extraordinary road to emotional healing opens up for an antisocial children's book writer and a selfless psych ward caretaker when they cross paths. And it's true, it's okay to not be okay because throughout this series, I was not okay. I cried a lot. If not every episode, every other episode. This series took me for a spin. It floored me. I wasn't just crying of like sadness and like, oh my god, this is a lot. I was crying tears of joy and laughter too because it was really funny. It was so good. All of these shows are so good. K-dramas are so good. The relationship that Gang-tae and Sang-tae have is absolutely beautiful. So Sang-tae is autistic. He's the older brother and Gang-tae is the younger one, and Gang-tae has basically had to look after him his entire life. And their relationship is both strenuous and so special and deep. There's so many like layers that the writers and the director fit into this story of their relationship and the hurt that both of them hold that you never would have thought. I remember when I watched the first episode because it starts with animation. I was thinking, what am I watching? The animation is very similar to like Coraline, yeah? I'm thinking, I swear I clicked on a K-drama. I swear this is meant to be live action. What's going on? And then as episodes went on and they continued to include animation, different types of animation, I understood how much and how well it complemented the storyline. One of the main characters, Young, the female protagonist, she's a children's book author, so it absolutely made sense to include animation like that. And so I appreciated just the way the weaving of the two like mediums were like that, you know, with like live action and animation. I love how they tackle mental health in the series. One of the male protagonists works in a mental health hospital. I feel like they deal with the different mental health issues really well, and I learned a lot. I learned some medical terms I can't remember, don't ask me, don't test me, while watching it. And that's the thing about K-dramas, especially if it's about topics that are not necessarily mainstream, you're going to learn something new. In It's Okay to Not Be Okay, sometimes they will use the animation to showcase the mental state of a patient, and it's so beautiful, so like, whoa, thank you for allowing me to get into what this character is feeling and kind of just like understanding. With using animation like that, it infuses into who the characters are, because one, like I said, Young is a children's author, but also Sang-tae loves drawing and loves art, so it's just like every little bit of the main characters is just imbued into, it's woven into the pieces, the filming, the editing of the entire show, and it's just lovely. It's so well done, and I'm gonna be saying that for every single one, but it's just mwah. Let me just talk about Young for a minute. Played by Yea-ji. Yea-ji. That woman can dress. That woman had style. Every fit was a jaw dropper. Every fit, I was like, what? How do you look so good in that? I think when we were all kids, we always wished that we could like reach into the TV and grab something. I always wanted to do that with food. I was like, I really wish I could have that Galaxy right there, that Magnum right there. It was always food that was always more like a treat. But anyway, I really wanted to reach into the screen and borrow some of Young's outfits because they were just stellar, magnificent. Even what she wore to sleep, she said, even in my dreams, I'll be styling. And I was like, yeah, I agree. I support this movement. I approve this message. That's another thing, like wardrobe in some K-dramas is just stellar. Just give K-drama costume designers their flowers, please. Also, Young is meant to have an antisocial personality disorder. And honestly, she's just honest. She's just an honest human being. Sometimes she can be mean, but she's just honest. I think it's because she's honest without thinking about other people's feelings, without needing to be polite, and also because she treats everyone the same, whether they're children or adults kind of thing, which means that she can be a bit dangerous to kids. But other than that, one, I think she's brilliant. She's lost and she's lonely and all of these things, but to a certain extent, she knows herself. It's just, I just love It's Okay to Not Be Okay. I will be rewatching it when I'm ready. Next, we have Startup. Young entrepreneurs aspiring to launch virtual dreams into reality compete for success and love in the cutthroat world of Korea's high-tech industry. I always feel like a bit weird when I talk about Startup just because I feel like I'm the only one that likes it. Well, the only one in my K-drama vicinity, but I wouldn't know. There's those people out there. Please let me know if you like Startup, if you've watched it. Startup for me is one of my favorites because it made some very dark days brighter. It felt relatable because at the time I was kind of like lost and felt like I didn't know what to do and what I was going to do with my life, and I felt like I would just be stuck. My ring was stuck on my dress, which was ironic. So it was just nice seeing people work through their dreams because I think I was at a point where I kind of wanted to just give up and everything at that time, and also seeing them work through the hard times, the times when they were broke, the times when their family didn't believe in them, was everything for me. I just felt like I was there with them. They created some of like the best tech to help people in need, to help blind people, and it was inspirational. It motivated me. It has a place in my heart because it was what I needed at that time. Also, joo-hyuk, isn't it? That's my husband. I already told you. So it was nice seeing his face. joo-hyuk's character, understand, was just such a sweetheart, wasn't he? It was really nice also to see his growth from someone who kind of didn't believe in himself as much, and someone who kind of let people push him around, and to just become this strong, capable man who loved his friends and loved his girl and was willing to make her dreams come true. And like, we love a man who supports his woman. So it's not every day behind every powerful man is a woman who's sometimes behind every woman. He was just really sweet. He was just so sweet and so intelligent, and he was sexy. It was, I mean, you put joo-hyuk and then you give him an intelligent character. I was living my best life. I was living my best life with him as the son. One person I cannot leave this K-drama without mentioning is Yoo-Bin's character, Cho-stan. Anytime he was on screen, I was laughing. I was dying of laugh. That man is hilarious. I love Yoo-Bin. Like, and even in Crash Landing on You, again, hilarious. Oh, he's literally so sweet. I have a crush on him as well. Yoo-Bin, yeah, he can like get it. The next K-drama that I want to talk about that is one of my favorite is Mine. Encaged in a gold-clad life of secrets and lies, two women in a conglomerate family seek to topple all that stands in their way of finding true joy. It's relatively new. It came out this year and it's brilliant. Yeah. It is brilliant. It was on my list. I was like, oh, this looks good, this looks interesting, you know, whatever. And then I remember seeing a TikTok and someone was like filming a section of it. They were saying that, oh, look, there's a queer love story. There's a thing about lesbians in Mine. And I was like, what? A queer love story in a K-drama. I'm there. I was already there, but now I'm there, you know? And by the time I was watching it, all the episodes were out, thank God, because I watched it in like 3 days. The plot was just brilliant. It was a whodunit, not just whodunit, but who was the one who got it done to them? How is it gonna be resolved? What were the consequences? The plot was so intricate and so layered. But the thing that stood out the most for me in this K-drama was the sisterhood and just the women in general. Yeah, to be a woman and to put that kind of relationship before anything else, because that was what was solid. It was so beautiful to see. It was so beautiful to see. Oh my God. Sometimes in society, women are put against one another, especially when there's a man in the situation. So even when it seemed like we were going down those stereotypical routes, they said nah. You know, they said no. And it just seeing the women come together and stand together and do what they needed to do, because it was something that also tied the women together besides the love for one another, was the love for their children. And they really came together against evil, you know?
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
Do you know what? Yeah, Mine is like, if you've read Untamed by Glennon Doyle, Mine is like the women realizing that they have been in a cage their whole lives. They have been tamed, and from episode to episode, they work towards becoming untamed, towards becoming their wild selves and opening that cage, kicking the fucking cage door down and saying, no more bullshit. I'm gonna be me, wild, untamed, free. It is a masterpiece. The mystery, the suspense. It was also very much like, oh, how the other half lives, because these women, 2 out of the 4, they come from a very, very, very rich family. The extravagance and the opulence and the almost innecessity of the wealth was a lot. They had a peacock as a pet. Why? Why? No, I actually loved it. I loved seeing the extravagance, the luxury. It was over the top. It was overboard, but at the same time, it was like they literally lived in a golden cage. And from the outside looking in, you think they have everything, and really and truly they do. They do, because
I promise, like, and
you know, I just said they had a peacock as a pet. That wasn't the most rich people thing that they know. The oxygen that they consumed. Hold on, there's something in my the oxygen that they consumed was different from the oxygen everybody else consumed. I don't know why it's so funny. Because it's not. It's I can't remember the percentage, but it says it in the drama that their oxygen is 2% for however many percent, like clear. And like they would ask the house help, be like, oh, can you turn the oxygen on to this percentage, because I need to clear my chest, I need to breathe deeper. I'm like, oh. There are people without clean water, but you can just demand clearer oxygen. This is not funny. What the fuck? Anyway, that's not the point, because I didn't hate them. I was just there like, oh, babies, you guys, you need to free yourself from the bondage. I can see how it's hurting you. And even the villain, I did not hate the villain. I couldn't. Okay, sometimes I did. I was like, are you okay? How could you? But at the end of the day, I actually couldn't hate. I could not hate the villain. And the villain has their own issues. I'm trying not to spoil it, but I've already spoiled it many times, but I just don't want to spoil who the villain is there if you haven't seen it. Also, like, Kim Seo-young, I love her. I think she's brilliant in anything she's in. She's in Sky Castle, and I think that's the first thing I saw in. She's so stunning. I have a crush on her. I have a crush on many K-drama actors, but Kim Seo-young, I think she's old enough to be my mom, but she's not my mom.
And
So I'm gonna keep having a crush on her. I mean, she's in Sky Castle, which is another one of my favorites, but I'm not gonna talk about it here because we'll be here forever. And I kind of talk about it in my other K-drama video. Mine is wonderfully done. The cinematography is really, really, really beautiful. The shots of the landscape, the attention to detail from fingers to lips. For example, when the oxygen has been turned on and seeing the smoke because of the oxygen moving to just show you just how different the air they breathe. They don't breathe the same air as us. Can you imagine? They're breathing different air. Can you imagine? Mine. And you know what? I don't really think it dawned on me why the series was called Mine until maybe like the last 3 or 4 episodes. And there were many clues, but I feel like as you got to the end, in case you didn't notice before, oh, that's why it's called Mine. Oh my god, that makes sense. Brilliant. So well done. It's a Netflix original. You can catch that shit on Netflix. Let's move on. Nevertheless, The intoxicating charm of a flirtatious art school classmate pulls a reluctant love cynic into a friends with benefits relationship. You have now heard me talk about Nevertheless with Mo in one of my vlogs. Saw me watch Nevertheless with Mo in another one of my vlogs. And now I'm going to gush even more about it. Someone needs to give Kim Garam, the director, all of her flowers. Because the way she portrayed everything, the way everything was fed or not fed to us, the way everything was presented and portrayed and showcased to us was done with such delicacy, intent, precision. It's so beautiful. I've used that word, but that's what it is. Beautiful. And for the cinematography alone, for the direction alone, for just the aesthetics alone, wow, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. There's this one scene, it's a dream sequence, when the female protagonist, played by An-so-lee, her name is Nabi in the series, and she dreams that things get hot and heavy with the male protagonist, played by Sung-kyoung, whose name is Jeon. Instead of like the hazy dream filter that I think we all get used to in films and TV when something is a dream. We have scenes where it's just solid, you wouldn't realize that this is a dream and this is reality. But then in that dream scene, there are shots of it through like a prism of glass, and it's cut into pieces, and we're seeing, you know, the love making, the passion through this filter, and it's shattered into like pieces with all the colors kind of like spread out, and it's just. Then there's another scene, it's actually in the final episode. Oh my god, yeah. So the finale of Nevertheless was on Saturday. It's over, and I am both free and upset. I am free because 10 minutes before I'm about to sit down to watch each new episode, I get heart palpitations. I am nervous as fuck. What kind of roller coaster ride are they gonna take me on today? Today, will I be upset? Will I be head over heels in love? Will I be sexually frustrated? Because that happened a couple of times. Will I be angry? Will I be pissed off? Will I be feeling pity? I don't know if I'm ready for all these. Will I feel all of them at the same time and not know what to do with myself? Will I feel like everything is happening to me, even though I am so many worlds removed from what is going on? When I thought about all the ways it made me feel and how much, even though sometimes it was painful, I couldn't stay away. This has to be one of my favorites, especially if I combine that with how much I love the cinematography and how much I love the direction of Kim Garam and how she made the love scenes between any of the characters, not just the main characters. I don't know what word to use, guys. They were just done in a way that like you just know, okay, like this is what it means to have a woman's touch when something is done more from the female gaze. Sometimes the gaze was neutral, and I love that. It just made such a difference. I can imagine how different it would have been if it was directed by a man. But what was I going? The scene. So there's a scene in the final episode, and Jeon has helped Nabi construct this beautiful wing made from, it's just them two in the shop, and he's like, oh, don't worry, I've got this, it's heavy, and he carries it away, and then Nabi's the only one left in the shop. Then she gets smaller and smaller. It looks like the camera's been looking at her through a telescope, and the camera's panning out, it's panning out, and it's panning out, and it's not a telescope but a gap through one of the wings of this sculpture that she has been making. So literally the wing that Jeon just said, don't worry, I'll take it inside. And as the shot keeps panning out, we lose Nabi, we see that it's the wing now, and it continues to pan out so that we can see the almost complete sculpture, and it's this beautiful piece. It's one of my favorite dramas. Even if I was to just leave the plot aside, just focus on the way it's shot. Wow. I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. And another thing I love about Nevertheless is the fact that every love story besides the love story of the main protagonist was just as important, or I was just as invested, if not more invested. And also, again, another queer love story. And it was really nice actually to have a reprieve from Nabi and Jaeon and Doyeon, because it was kind of like a love triangle thing from their relationship, because sometimes the dynamics of the relationships was very heavy. It could be triggering sometimes, just because, and I'm not the first one to say this, Jaeon from the first episode was literally like a red flag walking. And it's so interesting actually. This is a series that follows a man that is so clearly wrong for someone. It's not a fairy tale princess and prince, like this is the guy for me, you know, I'm waiting for my prince to come and sweep me up. We are seeing this girl fall for a guy who has multiple red flags, who literally, at least on the surface, is not good for her. It's not good for her health. It's not good for anybody's health, bro. He's dangerous. And we just get like deeper into that story and seeing what it's like to invest yourself in someone, to fall for someone that you, every part of your sense, your brain is saying, get out, run. And your heart's going, no, but I kind of like it still. I don't really want to, I feel good. I know I might cry, I know I might regret it later, but your brain is like, no, please, I don't want the pain. I can't handle your heart's like, I mean, come on. What is love if it's not pain, eh? I was gonna say it's nice. It's not nice seeing that because, like I said, I got heart palpitations. I was frustrated. I was like, just leave the nigga. It's worth us. But I also understand because one is Sung-kyoung. The man is fine. And he's also on my list of husbands. I have a list of husbands and I have a list of wives. I love Nevertheless. I loved the way each relationship was different, how it dealt with being a young person, whether it be a millennial or Gen Zer, and the dating landscape of that. Every episode felt like that heady coming of age film. The way every teenager and young adult just imagines their life to be this dream that, or like not imagines what wants their life to be. Even if I didn't leave feeling euphoric, every episode was euphoric. Every episode felt like a drug hit. I was fiending for almost every episode. And the butterfly motif, loved it. They did not drop the bag on that one. They didn't let it die. The main character's name is Nabi, which means butterfly. The male protagonist has a fucking butterfly tattoo on the back of his neck. The amount of shots we got of that and the way like they reminded us, don't forget, woo, so well done. And it just made me want to get a neck tattoo. I already have one here, but like one on the back of my neck. Go watch it if you haven't already. Okay, the last of my favorite K-dramas, last but certainly not least, could never be least, is Vincenzo. During a visit to his motherland, a Korean-Italian mafia lawyer gives an unrivaled conglomerate a taste of its own medicine with a side of justice. Vincenzo was so much better than I could have ever imagined it would be. Again, I was in love with the two main leads, Joong-ki and Jeon-yeon. I mean, how could I not be? And I loved that the romance was not the main part of the story. Like it was like the compliment. It was the cherry on top of the entire series, you know what I mean? And loved the importance of family and how Vincenzo comes into this very much alone and feeling alone, and he unintentionally builds this family of strangers and people willing to fight for him, fight with him. Whenever Joong-ki spoke Italian, I was like, this is music to my ears, bro, say it again. The suits that came out of this series, every suit that Vincenzo was wearing, every suit that Jeon-yeon's character was wearing.
Mamma mia.
Oh, so good. So good. Again, wanted to reach out into the screen and just borrow it. Also, Jeon-yeon's walk was everything. That was a character in itself. It was so funny. Ow! It was equal parts funny, equal parts fierce, equal parts ridiculous. Everyone in the Kasano family became masters of disguise. It was actually so funny. You know how you have those shows that like every episode there's like a slightly different story and everything is contained in that episode. So obviously Vincenzo, every episode was building on one big story, but in a way every episode also contained a story because they needed to put on these disguises to find out more information to aid them in getting the bad guys. These people became masters of disguise. I was like, where did you guys get this talent from? And everyone in the house had some hidden skill that was so conveniently helpful. How did you guys all happen to move into the same building? Why are you guys so good at being other people? But it was so, literally every episode made me laugh. I cried a couple of times. The main protagonist was not a hero, he was an anti-hero. Actually probably one of my favorite anti-heroes ever. He's like, you know, really sweet, quite like innocent, funny, but also this person who has this like raw like animal and it's kind of hot. He has this like primal thing in him that comes out, and he's strong and sex. He knows who he is and he has his own code that he strictly sticks to, even when he makes concessions, when he decides, no, I can't stick to the code here, it makes sense. And it's like, it's okay, sometimes you gotta go with the flow. You can't always be a stickler for the rules, you know? So, so it just made sense. Also, the president of his fan club, his #1 fan, the agent, yes. He is my spirit animal. That is exactly how I feel about Vincenzo. Yes. I mean, Mr. Casano can not just get it, he deserves it. I will serve it to him on a platter. Bro, you know, catered to you by Destiny's Child, Vincenzo, that's what you deserve. I know he's a made-up character, he's not real, but everything Beyonce, Michelle and Kelly said in Cater to You, Vincenzo deserves it. His life has not been easy, you know? He's lived a hard life and this man has so many enemies. Not really for good reason, but also for good reason. You know what? The evil of the villains, usually in K-dramas, one thing that I always love is that they never let a villain just be a villain. They always have some kind of story, something that usually means that even though you want to see the villain thwarted, you have an understanding, you have a certain level of compassion for them. Now, the villains in Vincenzo. It's very hard to have any compassion for them. Taeseon's character, I can't remember his name. That's the villain of villains. What the hell? He's so evil. He's so evil. It's kind of a spoiler, I'm sorry, but honestly, you should have watched it right now, Jake. The villains are evil. I still managed to find some compassion for them, only just in that, like, I was like, you know, the human beings, like me personally, I wouldn't be able to kill them. But Vincenzo, yeah, kill them niggas, kill them bitches, because they need to die. And I almost never say that about anyone or anything, but I was like, yeah, no, this evil needs to be eradicated from this world. So Vincenzo, do your thing. And the sweetness of the revenge that he takes on them. Oh, yo, this will gather me, bro. Okay, I might be going a step too far, but it served so well. It's served so nicely. It's so it's so well. It's the perfect punishment that these villains need and deserve. Oh man, just again a brilliant show. Everyone in the show deserves their flowers. Phenomenal acting from every single person. It did so well when it was out, like in terms of numbers and stuff, and I understand why. It's brilliant. It's so good. It's so good. Watch it. Yeah, guys, that's it from me. Let's have some honourable mentions. Some of these were actually on the list and I was going to talk about them, but it's been too long. We need to move on. We need to move on with the day. Some honourable mentions are Love in the Moonlight, Record of Youth, Dodo So So La La So, Run On, Sky Castle, but I already kind of mentioned that. Uncanny Counter, Strong Girl Bong Soon, Crash Landing on You. That's a little bit about me and my favorite K-dramas. I hope you enjoyed me talking about them and giving you reasons why you should watch them. If you're still sitting here and you haven't opened up Netflix or whatever streaming site you have that will allow you to watch it, what are you doing? Let me know if you want me to do something like this again, like just kind of like talking about K-dramas and maybe like dissecting them, because I watch them obviously for my entertainment, so I don't think about being like really technical about them. I don't even know if I have that skill anymore, which is not great because I'm an English and film graduate. No, I do have that skill to some extent in it, but if there's a K-drama that you enjoy and you want me to see or watch and then let you know my thoughts on it or whatever, I can do that, hopefully. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you if you got to the end. I know it was a long one. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you. I appreciate the fact that you enjoyed what I had to say enough to continue watching. That means a lot to me and I appreciate you. And I'm very grateful. And I'll let you know if this list changes, if a few more added onto it. Who knows, I might do one where I talk a bit more about my honourable mentions. I've been talking for a very long time. Thank you again for watching. I hope you have a day in whatever form it comes. I hope you go watch a K-drama. And I really, really do appreciate you. And I'll see you on the flip side. Bye. That's my tea. Ooh, choked on my spit. Thanks, I'm filming. Ooh.